We are back. I forgot to commit the code, so that's something I'm going to want to do here just before we continue on. And so I'm just going to double click here, but I have to do this, hit stage. I'm going to go here and just say implement backend code. I wonder if there's anything like in the, before I do this, if there's anything I should be omitting. Sometimes what you do is you omit something. So is there anything in, like, can we add a git ignore into the backend Go for Go? We could just go to GitHub and grab the one from there, but I'm just going to let it generate here, and then we'll just take a look at what it has. So if there's anything in particular that we need to exclude, that will be it. So that should be good. Where did it create it? I just want to make sure that this is the right place. There it is. And so now I'll go ahead and stage that as well. Stage. And so now we're in good shape. So say implement backend code in Golang. And we're going to go ahead and commit that. So now what we need to do is we need to make sure that our API is actually working. So our next task is like, okay, so we have implemented all the API endpoints. We need to ensure that all the endpoints work, return the expected JSON or expected response, like good or bad responses, like okay, 500, etc. What would be an easy way? What would be a way we could write test code for this? And like, do we want to use Go for this? I mean, if it works, it's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with using Go. The other thing is that generally, because Go is so statically typed, it doesn't require as much test code, I don't believe. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and just ask Claude this thing. Does Golang need as much test code as other programming languages, or does the nature of Go make it so you don't need as much test code? Saying it needs as much as other ones here. Okay, fair enough. I was hoping that it would do something a bit different there. So here, what it's doing is it's going to implement some test code. Let's go over here, handler tests. Test groups. I wonder if there's like another way that we can test this stuff. Is there another way? Is there something other than Go that is more developer friendly we can use? Postman or the Thunder client VS Code extension. That's what it was called. Let's go take a look at that. Thunder client. Now here it's writing Postman, and Postman's fine. But I guess my other issue is that this is not going to test our endpoints. I don't really want to use Postman, but we'll take a look here. I mean, yeah, that is a way. Like, could we use Ruby? Sorry, I really like Ruby, but like, could we use Ruby with RSpec? I'm just going to ask it if it could do this. Yeah, because it's very readable. That's the thing that I want, is the fact that it's super, super readable. Not because, well, I mean, I really do like Ruby, but sometimes readability can help a lot. So we'll go here and let's take a look at what that looks like. So I'm gonna go here and we have these thunder tests. I don't want these thunder tests. We'll get rid of that. And Postman's fine, but it's just like it's paid and it's not easy to access like it used to be. So let's forget that one. So we have a spec directory here and we have API. And if we go here, this is, to me, is very readable. So here we have groups. It says, let the response, if it goes here, it should return a 200. If not, then it should do this. Okay, and so then it will generate an output like this. It's very, very clear. So this is the way that we can test our API. So yeah, it looks great. Good, keep going. Test all endpoints using Ruby with Ruby spec. Okay, there might be an easier, like even there's like ways to refactor this so it's even more concise. But for our purposes, it's totally fine. So we'll let it continue on here. The only thing is that we have things like groups 99 words and groups 1 word. And I mean, I guess that would be an invalid one. So it is setting these things up here. So the test code here is a little bit rigid. I wouldn't describe it as the best. But the point is that it's really easy to read. So I'm kind of happy with it. And it's cool because we can use it for anything. If we decide to implement this in any other language, we can still use the Ruby code for it. So we'll just wait for it to finish here, and then we'll review, okay? Okay, so now we have a lot more stuff. And so it's testing exactly what it expects. So it says go to here, and it should return a 200, and it should return stats with the correct properties, and we're expecting these properties, right? There are other checks that you might want to do. You might want to say things like, if you increment a value, you can check it. So if we go over to something like study sessions, in here we have this, right? So we might say with valid IDs, return a response and valid IDs. So this one's really basic. It's not checking. Well, if you have a post here, so we check the post, and it returns back correct, but it's not checking whether something increments or something. Well, I guess it's fine because it's just checking the endpoints. It's not checking the internal app. We'd have to write unit tests for that, and this isn't unit tests. So do you want to run this command? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So now it's actually just going to run the RSpec stuff. Bundle not found. Really, what? Ooh, I don't think we want to install it that way. Ruby has to be installed in a very particular way, so just one moment here. I'm going to go over to here, and do we not have Ruby? RVM? So I'm going to install RVM really quickly, and yeah, everyone should have Ruby. It's great. So at some point you knew this was coming. So to install Ruby should be pretty straightforward. I think I should be able to grab this line here. So RVM is a Ruby version manager. So it says I can't find that one. We'll go ahead and grab this one, I guess. And then after we install GPG, whatever it is, I'm going to try the next line here for installing RVM with the default Ruby on Rails. I don't want Ruby on Rails. I just want Ruby. We'll grab this. We'll paste that into here. That's going to install Ruby. We'll give it a moment here. I think it didn't like the GPG thing. So I'm going to go back up here. I think this line didn't run. We didn't have GPG2 installed. I mean, GBG is necessary. It's like a key or chain to check to make sure that what you're pulling from is valid. But it's always kind of an extra step that's kind of a pain, even though we should be doing it. But anyway, so now that we have that extra step, we're going to go back over to here. I'm going to grab this line here. We'll hit enter. And so that's going to go ahead and now install RVM. So RVM stands for Ruby Version Manager. And if we do RVM, was it list? We can see, do we get RVM at least? We do not. So it says installing RVM to this path, adding RVM to this line. Okay, so it doesn't know about it yet, but maybe I gotta just restart my source. Bash profile, maybe like that. Now do I have RVM? There we go, now I have it. So let's say RVM list. So I can say RVM install. I don't know what the latest version of Ruby is. You should all love Ruby. It's such a good language. It is so nice and fun and under the sun. It's also made by Yukihiro Matsumoto, who is he's Japanese. So you know it is a good language. It's weird. It's Japanese, but it's written in English. But it's supposed to be very, very similar to English. But anyway, so all I'm going to do here is look what the latest version is. It's 3.27. Wow, we are moving up in the world here. So I'm going to say Ruby. So I'm going to say 2.3.7. It's going to know that it wants it to be Ruby. And if the binary is available, it's going to go ahead and download that. So here, it's having some issues. So what I'm going to do, there's also 3.4.1. I'm not sure why. Oh, you know what? Sometimes the latest is not always the one that's shown here. So maybe 3.4.1. We'll try that. Yeah, 2 is really old. Why am I doing 2? I should know this. Like, that's not new. Well, 3.2.7. No, that's pretty new. I was thinking like 2.7. I've been using Ruby for like ever. So before it was even 2, I was using it when it was like 1. We'll go ahead here, and because if it's the newer one, it's going to have all the compatible ones. That 3.2.7 might be an older release, and that's just not available on Ubuntu. So here it is installing 3.4.1. I'm going to wait a little while. It shouldn't take too long, but I'm going to wait a while till this is done, okay? All right, so RVM should be installed. Let's go ahead and type in, or sorry, Ruby. Ruby should be installed. So we have version 3.4.1. We need to install Bundler, so we'll go ahead and do that. That's what's being used to do Bundler. I'm just going to go here and tell it like, I have Ruby installed now with Bundler, so you don't need to install Ruby Bundler like you are. So go ahead and just, oops, tell it there. That. Okay. And so now we'll run it. Let's just do a bundle expect exec rspect. And we'll give it a moment here. And so now it's running, it's just installing. Before it didn't need it because it was just running raw Ruby, which I don't know how it did it because maybe it was just showing us a preview and it actually never ran it. See, it shows this. Oh, it's saying like what you would want to see as good output. I thought it ran it. Oh, and so then it ran into problems. Okay. So now here it's running. Let's take a look. So it says no such file spec helper. It might be just where I tried to put it, but let's see here. It says it seems to be an issue. Let's fix the directory structure. Yeah, that's probably what the problem is. And so then we go here and it says, oh, I think it's fixing it. Might just be the pathing. Yeah, I was going to say maybe it's doing require relative to fix it. Now we're using something I know. Okay, so that is still going. Good, good. RSpec, bundle exec, RSpec, format documentation. And I mean, that's a format you can do it. I usually don't specify the format. I'm surprised it's doing that. But we'll go here and it's still having an issue. No examples found. I mean, that's fine if it wants to run them individually. That's not going to help. Still failing. Do you need that though? Okay, I mean, that's going to format things. That's not why it's broken. Well, yes, of course, that would make sense, yeah. Really struggling here. Not sure if it's forcing it, but let's try this again here. Okay, without any configuration files. Sure. Did it just get rid of all my test files? Now it's doing test. I don't really want test. It just made another folder called, this doesn't make any sense. Okay, I think it needs a little bit of help here. So let's go back over to here. We have the API. I mean, we have these, which is fine, but these should work. This shouldn't be our issue. So I'm going to delete this folder here. This is silly. And we have the API directory here. We have the spec folder here, which is fine. We have spec helper here, which is fine. I'm going to close this out and go into manual as it is really struggling here. So we are in the spec directory. I'm going to do a bundle install to make sure whatever is supposed to be there is installed. Now to run rspec, we should just be able to run rspec. Just run rspec. That's it. And so it's saying rspec no examples found. So it's been a while, but let's go look up the docs and see how it's supposed to work. So we'll look up rspec, and we'll go to here, and we'll go to documentation. And we are just looking for the most basic start to this. So we'll go into maybe rdoc here. So gem install rspec, or just rspec core. You want to run against main branch, doesn't really matter here. So here the rspec rules are here, aliases, shared example, context, metadata. So what I'm trying to find here is how does it load the files or data, right? So it should tell us install basic structure. Okay, I understand that. The rspec command. So when you install rspec core gem, it installs the rspec executable, which we have. The rspec command comes with many useful options like rspec help. Store command line options, that's what it was trying to do. So start a simple example behavior with your system just before you write any implementation code. So in your spec, calculator spec.rb file, it says rspec spec calculator spec, okay? So we don't need, we could have the gem file at the top level. We really don't need it at this level. It makes no sense that it did that. But it's fine that it's there. I don't care. So what we can do is we can write rspec and then API and just specify one in particular, like this one. And so now what it's doing is it's actually kind of figuring it out, right? So that's okay, but here it's saying cannot load such file as spec helper. Now the spec helper should implicitly get loaded in. So I'm going to go ahead and just search for the spec helper. Spec helper implicit loading Ruby. So here, I mean, you could place your spec files under your examples folders, but this is in Rails. So what we'll do is we'll go over to here, because it might get confused with Rails and what else, but this one specifically is the dashboard one. And here it's trying to require it that way, but really we should be doing require relative. So if we are here in this folder, and we say we go up a directory into here, and it's now here, it should now include that file. So I'm going to go ahead and run it manually here. And it's saying no such file. No such file. An error occurred for API spec helper on line 1. You got to be crazy. Let's put the .rb in there. We shouldn't have to do that. Let's try that there. Oh, and actually, that actually did help. Really? Did that help? Load all supported files. Support and shared, that's totally fine. Some basic configuration. Include helper modules, API helper, API helpers. So it have those in there. So it's trying to load this. It created it, which is fine. Create study session. Review word. Get stats. So this is kind of like extra stuff that it's loading in here. And now it's saying uninitialized constant API helper. Uninitialized constant API helper. What are you talking about? It's right here. So maybe in our spec helper here, it's saying config.include it, right? So I'm going to go back over to Cascade and I just tell it like, yeah, I mean, maybe we can just help it out here and I'll just show it this. But it kind of made the code a little bit more complicated than it had to be. I'm not sure why it did that. We'll go ahead and try this and maybe this will contextually help it a bit. And so now we've gotten past the whole like requires issue. But this is where we might want to pare down the code and make it a little bit simpler so they can run the files. Because it is getting a little bit confused. And so now we'll take a look at this again. Go to the top here, bring this over here. So now we're getting a report of what it ran. So saying failed, 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 which is fine. How do we even know if this app is running, right? Great, the test is now running, but we're seeing some actual failures in the dashboard endpoints. Let's fix the test expectations to match the actual API responses. What? They don't match? So, but I guess the question is like, is it matching based on the documentation? Well, hold on. Are you matching, like, the source of truth is our backend. So are you going to make sure that that's what appears in our what our test or spec code implements? Okay, so I'm gonna go down here, do that again, because I don't know if it's actually doing that. I mean, when we looked at it before, it looked fine. But dashboard's kind of a hard one to tackle. Maybe what we should really be doing is looking at the words.py first. We do have a lot of API endpoints, so I can understand why this is a bit of a challenge. Maybe that Postman file might have been easier for us to work with, but again, I don't want to use something that is paid and a pain in the butt, especially for API testing. So now it's made some changes. What it changed, I don't know, but it looks right to me. We'll run it again. So this one works according to the specs. So some of them actually pass. Let's take a look. Oh, so some of them are passing. Okay, cool. Let's move on from the dashboard from now. Let's focus on easier endpoints like the words endpoint, the word like words and groups. So I'm gonna go just to help it out a little bit here because if we go back over to our Ruby file, all of these need that spec helper. So I'm just gonna go. Oh wait, did it add it to all of them? Not all of them. This one doesn't have it. Oops. So I'm going to go back over to this one here. Copy. I'll paste it in here. And we'll go here. This one's fine. This one's fine. This one's fine. This one's fine. And we'll do this. Because dashboard's kind of hard, right? Because it has a more complex query, and if the data isn't there for it, it's not going to spit out good results. The other thing is that I don't know if it actually created well, I guess it's just running off the main application. Normally you'd have a test database and run against the app separately here, but we're literally running against their development database, but that's totally fine. I don't care. I don't know if it has to update the word specs. I would rather it had just tested it first. All right, and so we're just going to wait for this to finish. All right, that was a bit of a wait. Let's take a look and see what we get. So now it's trying to run. That's dashboard spec. Let's go down more. Did it run the other one? It did not. So here it says, let's view the current group specs, and it's analyzing them. So now it wants to go ahead and run them. I don't know why I just didn't run them one at a time. I guess I told it words and groups, so it got confused. And so we'll take a look here and see. So now we have this one returning, but it says has groups correct properties, failed. Has correct value types, failed. So let's go take a look into this group specs and see what it says. Because we didn't write these by hand, right? So here we have, it has the correct pagination structure. So in here for pagination, current page, total pages, total items, item page per value. If we go over to the actual implementation, into our internal, into the models, into the model go code. You know what we could have done before we even did this? Before we wrote any code, we could have asked it to write all the test code first and then mock the endpoints. But we have pagination, and it has current page, total pages, total items, items per page. But maybe the structure that's being returned is not the same thing. Has the correct value types, returns 404 when failed. So it seems like on the pagination, it's having some issues. Okay, we'll go back over to here. And we'll run this one command, I guess. We'll accept that. Now we get a 404. Let me completely rewrite the word spec file. Oh, this is where I kind of feel like I should be just writing these by hand, the test files. Because they're so simple, to be honest. I mean, it would take time, but the point is I would know exactly what I get out of it, and then we could be looking at the API a little bit more closely. We'll let it think here, okay? Oh, here we go. Coming back. Just going to run the test again, sure. So here it says, the words endpoint returns the paginated fields at the root level instead of under a pagination object. That is true. Returns nil for the items instead of an empty array. Returns 500 instead of 200 for valid IDs. Would you like me to help fix these? Yes, please fix them. I mean, like, we'd have to really dig in to take a look, but it is supposed to be as it described, so we'll let it try to do this. We'll be back in a moment. All right, let's take a look and see what we have. So now it's saying I made several updates. So it fixed the word responses, items, here's like that. So now let's go ahead. The API matches the technical specifications. Let's go ahead and hit up and run it. That should have worked. Okay, well, let's run the tests again, specs again, and check. At some point, we want to be able to just run our spec and have everything run, but until we get them all running, I just would rather just focus on them individually. It's spitting out a lot of stuff there for us to see where we are. No such file directory. Did it blow away our main.go? The other thing is that it has to stop and start the app over, like rebuild it. What the heck is it doing now? This is where, you know, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to use the GenAI when we don't know what it's doing and it's going in these loops here, and then we have to manually check everything anyway? And so should we have just implemented it and co-wrote it along this entire time? So another approach we could have done is implemented each API endpoint individually and then wrote the tests and made sure that they worked. Because if we have to step through it anyway, but when we have all this stuff here and it's trying to do it, it's just not very effective, is it? It's trying. Sure is trying. Well, we'll wait a little bit more here. All right, we'll let it run now. Oh, cool. It actually kind of ran tests. So we see some of it. Lots going on here. It might help to zoom out a little bit. I know it's going to be a little bit harder for you, but for me, it's just really hard to see what's going on. And so we can see a lot of these tests are failing. Yeah, it's like, yep, they failed. There you go. It's done. Not very helpful. So words return a paginated list of words. That should be the first one. So I really want to focus just on this one here, just the words. And so if we hit up, that's what it ran. But really, we just clear this out here for a second. Like this. This is assuming that the Golang app is still running. Okay, so now it's running this. If we go back over to here in this other tab, I'm going to hit stop here. I'm going to hit up. And what I wanted to do is run it again. I'm just going to pare it down so it's a little bit easier for me to work. I'm not really reading these commands. Like, I know what they're doing, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not thinking too hard about it. So now it's rerunning the server. It should be rerunning it with the new code. If I go back here and run this again, right? The first problem we have here is the first one. So it says, got 200, expect 200, got 404 in word spec. So let's go take a look at this. The first one here. And here we have words. And it's going to API URL words, right? And it's expecting a 200 code. So that's where we should really be focusing on first. But we do have some tests passing. Well, this actually one's for words ID, right? So technically the regular words is working. It's not showing the ones that didn't work, but it's going here, words ID doesn't work. So we go down to words ID. And you can see it's going to words 1. Right, so here it's suggesting that words 1 does not work. Okay, so let's just focus on each error at a time. So let's just tackle one failure at a time. Okay. Because I feel like it's trying to do so much, and then we can't keep track of it, and it's changing so much stuff. Or 1 doesn't exist. I'd be very surprised if 1 didn't exist. And this is one problem, is that when it runs, again, we don't have a test database and an isolate app, and this is where we're running into issues, eh? Is deleting all the data but not inserting the new data? Well, yes, of course. And so maybe if we have some tests, we'll actually see more stuff passing here. I'm just going to run it manually. I don't like how it's doing that. So I'm going to go here and we'll stop this and we'll turn this back on. And then I'll go back over here. I'm just running it manually. And so now, do we have more that's passing? No, but anyway, we'll let it run it, whatever command it wants to run. Command rspec not found, install for the... No, 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 no. You have rspec. Okay? No, you have rspec. You don't have to do that. Okay, it's just running the go main file. I already did this. I don't need to do that. So we'll go here. We'll run that. It is now running. Okay, we'll go back over to this one. We'll hit up. And I actually only want to run the word spec file. It's actually running 2 of them right now, so just hit enter there. And this way we can be a little bit more hyper-focused on exactly fixing that stuff. I'm going to drag this on over here. It's 8 p.m. my time. For those that saw the live stream, I've been recording since like for hours here. So, but here it's saying response code, whatever, whatever. So the problem is like, I don't know what's in this Word database, right? And so this is something we need to check out. I want to see like SQLite preview 3 Explorer, like maybe this here. I don't care which one, it just has to work. And so that's now installed. We'll go over to here. I'm going to go and take a look at our WordsDB. Maybe right click. Should let us see it. That Explorer sucks, so I'm going to go back and uninstall this one. Uninstall. We'll install this one instead. I just need one of these to work. We'll go back over to here. We'll click into this. There we go. And so now we can see what our records are. So if we go into Words, the problem is it's going 10, 11, 12, and the record is 1. So, okay, so this is failing because our our data doesn't have a 1. Right now we have word IDs of 10, 11, 12. How can we, can we have a test database where we have a guarantee of the data being set to specific data? Okay, because that's what we really need here. That's our problem here, right? That's why it's not working. No, 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 no. No, make a test database. E.g., words test.db, okay? And make it so we can choose which DB it's using, and we can write an SQL to, okay? Because I don't want to insert exactly what it is, because I'd rather do that. It's supposed to increment, right? This is where, you come in handy, right, as the developer. So it's going to go to main.go, models.go, great. And so I'm hoping that it can handle the two differences here. Fine. First, let's create a new environment variable to control which database to use. That sounds good to me. So go over to here. Then we're going to create a test data SQL. So we normally don't like to insert stuff this way, but we're going to do that for our test database. Let's update the spec helper to use the test database. Good. Has very limited data in here though right now. Now let's initialize the script and run the tests. Okay, so I'm going to ignore that it's doing that. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to run it again. I'm going to go over to this one. I'm going to stop this. There's nothing to stop, but we'll run it again. We'll see what we get now. Okay, and so now we get a 200 error on words ID. So the thing is that when we're running the backend Go one, it's supposed to use a very specific I guess we could stop it. I just don't know what it's running on this side, eh? Oh, is this not even running? Maybe that's why. Oh, it's saying 8081 still in use. Oh boy. Okay, well we'll run that and we'll see what happens. I wish it would stop doing that. No, this is all you need. Like this is all you need. This is how you run the RSpec, okay? So do this. Like it's getting confused. It's doing really complicated stuff. So run this instead. It's so dumb. It is so dumb. Okay, we'll go back over to here. It's not the agent's fault. It's just like it can't handle this part. So all right. How do I specify when I run to use the test database? That's what we want to know here. And I'm going to go over to here in the backend code. I'm going to make a README. Okay, so to run, it's going to be this test code. Right now it's this. It's going to change. We're going to make it a little bit easier, right? To see what we're doing. You set the DB path. So here it's suggesting that we do this, like this here. Let's grab this here for a second. Words.testdb, go run db. Okay, so when running tests, use the test database for the Go app. Running a test. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and I'm just going to, again, run these manually because I'm now the boss. And we'll go ahead and paste this in here. This is going to run that. Okay, something is already running. The Golang app is still running prior on 8081. Can I get a command to kill it? Okay. I could do ps aux and try this and say grep go and see what we get. And maybe it's running on there somewhere. Here it's suggesting this command. That fixed it. So we'll go here like kill if already running. So, you know, if the Golang, if a previous Okay, so now it's supposed to be running. We'll go back down to here. I'm going to go ahead and run this again, and let's see if we get better coverage. It'd be really nice if it... Oh, look at that. Wow. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, great. So now we're getting coverage here for this one. Let's go over to the groups one. We could just see, like, it wasn't going to check the database. It didn't know that, and so we just kind of helped it out there. Sometimes it just gets stuck. So groups is good. That one's good. Please, let's just keep going here. Let's keep winning. I don't think it generated out data for study activities. So here, study activity spec. I expect this one to fail because it doesn't have the data. So go to this one. Let's just file name column. Okay, so groups and words specs are all passing. We need to move on to study activities. Can you make sure the test database is seeded with study activity? So the specs for study activities have a chance of passing. The question is also, where did it put that seed data? So we have it over here, which is just sitting in there. Yeah, and it doesn't have it in there. So we'll go ahead and do that because it's supposed to have it. We could even tell it that specific file, but I think it'll figure it out. And we will just watch and see what it does here. It did? Where did it add it? I don't see nothing. Close that out, reopen it up again. Oh, there it is, okay. Flashcards, multiple choice, that's exactly right. We have some study session data from the time it started and how much activities and some word reviews. That sounds good. So now what we can do is run that. I like how it's actually giving me a simple command this time. We'll just insert it over here. No, that's not what I wanted, which is fine. But I'm going to go ahead and stop this. And would it know to reload that? Okay. How does the test database reload? Do we have to run a command? The initialization script. Okay. I guess my thought is like, you know, why isn't this a command that is part of the for Go? Like, why is it not done like that, right? I mean, it can be a separate script, but like the fact is we have whatever that thing is, the make version of Go in here. It's like, why aren't we utilizing that? So you're right, you should be able to use a Go command to handle this instead of using a shell script. So it actually updated the main.go. What did it do? Open the diff. And so here, if it's test, otherwise load that one, which is fine. Remove existing database if it's not there. Initialize the new database. Would that look okay? But does that mean every time I start up the Go app, it's going to reset the database? Like reset the database? No, the reset only happens when you explicitly run this. The main server just connects to whichever database is there. Okay, but why is it not? Oh, we have the commands over here. Wait, why are these empty? Okay. So we have migrations over here, which is fine. But go here. This is empty, right? Mage file go. Okay, but why? But why are we not using the mage file? Yeah, see, I already forgot that it existed, right? Is it going to rip out all that junk code in there? So this is the thing is like you constantly have to remind it and tell like, hey, remember there's a mage file. There is a way that we could make that whisper, sorry, not the whisper, the windsurf. There's like a rule file that I saw. I said earlier I didn't think that windsurf could do it, but someone shared a video that it can do it, and so maybe there's a way that we can make a rule so it always remembers to remember that there is a mage file to check. To use the mage, why would you have to do that? Oh, okay. So it was doing it that the entire time. Oh, that's how it was doing it before it ran the suite. Interesting. Okay. So, okay, did you remove the code you put in main go? Right? Like, did you do that? Because we just have a junk code laying around everywhere. Just junking up everything here. Okay, but didn't you add? But didn't you add in that file there? Like it's not. It's kind of doesn't understand. All right, let's go back to the main Go here. I just don't know if I trust it. Initialize the database in a failed connection. Oh, it's not doing that. Oh, okay. Can we get rid of the db init main go? Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's delete that. Thank you. Okay, since these don't have anything in them, we'll just take these out and delete these. Okay, and so now, yeah, get rid of it. And so now we just have that one. So now what we can do is we'll go back over to here. I'm going to, what's the command to start it though? We'll go back over to our README here. So I'm thinking that it's still this. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that. Still in use, I'm gonna go kill it. We're gonna go back up to this one here. Okay. It's starting on port 8081, that's fine. We'll go down here. We're gonna go and hit up and run this again and see what we get now. And so we're getting some passing, right? That's good. That's a good sign. Well, I mean, we have one passing, right? So here it's saying, if we go over to here for a second, I'm gonna bring the font down a little bit just so it's a bit easier for me to see what's going on. I know it's really, really small, but I need it like this so I can see what I'm doing. So it's saying 200 and got 500. Study activities, line 11. So if we go into, before we do that, let's just run one that we know that worked before, like words, because we've been changing a bunch of code. I just want to see if anything works. Will this fail as well? So now this has failures, but it worked before. Words ID. So now that one's failing again. But I thought if we went over here and we checked the database, this is now 1 and 2, right? So this shouldn't be failing. If we go back over to our spec code here in our API and our words spec here, this is set as 1. So it makes me think that it's not loading that database. Yeah, words, 11119. Like even this is getting 404. Oh, because that command doesn't run the... All right. It was supposed to run this command. I put the wrong command in here. Yep, it's binding again. We'll kill it that way. I think what happens is that this, like that interface kills and it's still running. So now it's running the test database. Okay, great. We'll go back over to here. We'll hit up. And so these should all pass. They do. Excellent. We're going to check groups here. Groups should all pass. Nope, I want groups. Groups. There we go. These all now pass. Excellent. Now we're going to go check in study sessions or study activities, right? We'll run this one. Does this pass? No, we get full failures. Yeah, study activities are really messed up. So we'll go ahead and hopefully we can do it. But like we have this one running and this one running, then we need those 1, 2, 3, 4. So we don't have much more to do. Doesn't have a name column, but their test data is trying to insert one. Let's fix that. Yeah, it wouldn't, study activities wouldn't have a name. That's right. The schema was incorrect. Are the types of activities available? And study sessions are, well, no, it should have one. So the schema was incorrect. The study activities are types of activities. And study sessions are instances of those activities. Let's check the study activity service to make sure it's implemented correctly. Let's go check the get study activity. The handle looks correct. To make sure our test database is using the updated schema test data. Okay, we'll run that. It gets a little bit confused when running these things, which is kind of frustrating. I'm going to go back over to here. I'm going to stop this. We'll run that. I'll type in clear here. Can we run Mage? Mage not found. So there's some other way to run Mage. Like how do I run Mage? Go run Mage. Okay, great. So I'm going to go here and we'll say go run Mage. And let's go back and update our docs. Okay, running mage. We have here, and it has to be go run mage test DB as an example. I'm not, yeah, we have this one. Seed. There we go. So now we know we have those commands. We'll click into this. We'll see what we have here. We have nothing in student activities. So I'm going to make sure that the database has stopped running with this command here. I'm going to run this again. Go run mage test DB. Go run mage test DB. I know it does the absolute pass, but it makes things confusing when it does that. Well, then how's it been? Okay, but how has it been running? Like, how has it been running the commands if we didn't have that before? Okay, so I want to see if I can run this then. Can we run it this way? Yes. Okay, so maybe there's a way that it can be less verbose. I don't care. I just want it to work. So I'm going to go ahead and paste it in here. And we have this. People are going to be like, people that are Go people are going to be like, what are you doing, Andrew? But we just want it to work. So now we have this here. Doesn't need to have test DB and knitDB, but we're going to go ahead, just up for a second. Take that out. We'll take that out. We'll take that out. Okay, great. So now I'm going to just ignore this for now. And that is now initialized. We're going to go back over to our word test database. We'll check our study sessions. Do we have anything in here for study sessions? I don't see it. I see, oh, study activities. I don't see anything. Let's go back over to our database, our test data. We have study activities. I don't see them here. Okay, so, you know, I was able to run the test DB, but I still don't see the study activities having data. And maybe that's where we should have stuck with bash scripts because it would have been easier to check. Oh, I hate when it tries to run things because it keeps failing, right? Okay, so there it has it. There we go. That's fine. But the other thing is that this just inserted the SQL manually, no? Words test database. Okay, but like you inserted the data using SQLite 3 directly. You didn't use the mage command and fix the mage command. Like, what are you doing, buddy? Switching back to standing here. Oh, there you go. So there is a problem. It's telling us, no, everything's fine, but now it's saying, oh, no, it's not right. Okay, so now what we'll do So what I want to do here is I'm going to go over to the test database because I don't trust it. I want to make sure that it's not running the thing in the background here. I'm going to go over to this test database. It probably has study activities. No, it still doesn't have study activities. I'm going to delete this file here. I want to see what happens if we run this. This one here, which sets up the test database. Does that also create the database? It does. Refresh this here. Okay, and we go here. Now it's being inserted. Okay, good. We have sessions, good. We have review items, good. Now there was another issue that it had with the study sessions, but now that issue is resolved. Let's go down here. Well, actually we have to run the backend first. So we'll go up until we can find it here. Somewhere it's here. Nope. This one here, yep, test database. And so now we'll go back over to here and I'll run this again. And so this time we're getting some passes, which is good. But now we have an issue with study activities, ID study sessions should return that, but we get a 500 error. Okay, so the question is, why do we get a 500 error? We can see 500s over here. We don't exactly see as to why. But there's a reason why, right? There has to be. But okay, so let's go ahead and just ask it to check why. While that's going on, let's take a look at the test data. Maybe there's just no C data and it can't handle it when that happens. It's saying 1, so there definitely is that. Okay, it's just checking, like it's doing a query saying like, is there any stuff? And there clearly is. That's why the words, I mean, you can do that if you want. Yeah, it's inserting data. While it's doing that, let's take a look here. We have study activities and then we have study sessions. These are marked as 1 and that's what we're looking at. So it should have returned that data there. And then these are all associated with that one. We'll give it a moment to let it think here. But we're getting close. This one's a long one, I know, but we're getting really close here. I'll be back in just a moment. Wait, hold on. It says, I updated the service to handle time parsing more carefully. Now it restarts the server, and let's try that again. Okay, so we'll restart the server. Didn't import the time package. It's restarting the server, good. I'm not sure where it's restarting it, but it's restarting it somewhere. And it's already in use. So what we'll do, again, just to try to help it out, we'll kill it, and then we will start it up again. Here. I started. Well, I'll just run the test here like this. I think it just passed. So let's stop this for a second. I mean, it definitely had more passes, it looked like. Let's go back over here and take a look. So now we have more that are passing. Okay, so failed. Here it's expected the items to be this, but we got this. So, I mean, it doesn't look super bad. It just looks like it needs a little bit more help. We almost have it working. Oh, at the root level. Yeah, it's not supposed to be at the root level. So it's confused. Yeah, it's the tests that are wrong. But yeah, the only way we're going to really be sure this is working, we'd probably still have to manually go and check every single endpoint. Because, you know, again, it's changing so much. So Okay, and it wants to test it again, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to kill it. It always seems to be what we need to do here. We'll run this again here like this. Whoa, what's going on here? Seems like it really broke it. We'll give it a moment here to update. All right, suggesting it fixed its problem. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to just hit that. I don't think I have to do that, but we'll go ahead and run this again. And yeah, I think it's running again. Good. We'll go ahead and run the study activities. And so now, oh wow, it's really close. So there's one where it says expected 200 and got to, I don't even know what a 201 is, but we'll let it figure that one out. But we are almost in really, really good shape here. Okay. So we got study activities almost working, words and groups. But we're creating a 201 created for post for study activities. Let me see here. I mean, like, that's fine, but really it should just be a 200. Okay, so now say you run the server again, no problem. We'll go here, we'll do this. I know it's so weird that I do that, but it works. It works. And we'll run this test next. Perfect, perfect tests. So now we have perfect tests for that one. Let's go run words. Let's see if that group, does group still work? Perfect tests. Let's go run words. Perfect tests, good. Now we need to do study sessions. That'd be cool if study sessions just worked. Imagine if that just happened. That'd be really awesome. We'll go ahead and do that. And we have some problems here. Okay, so now, stop this here. We'll do that. We have study sessions, we have reset, and we have dashboard. Dashboard is a little bit trickier because it has more complex queries, but we'll see what we get. And you know, some of these tests aren't like thoroughly testing it, and we'd have to do deeper tests for that. But you know, we'll find out as we go here. We're trying to scan the study sessions fields directly into the response struct, but the time field format's wrong. Sounds like a similar problem that study activities had. And so it seems like they're just applying that over to the study sessions now. So it wants to run the server again. So I'm going to go ahead and just kill it and then start it. And then we'll go over to here. That didn't work. So see what happens here. Okay, so we're going to stop this here. Run this one. It's running, good. Now we're going to run this again. Please just work, please just work. Getting closer though. Probably similar areas like 200 to 201. Pretty close. I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to go grab all three and dump them in here. The reason we shouldn't do that is because if we only give it one to work on at a time, then it's going to use more of the context to try to figure out that one as opposed to trying to do all of them. But if the agent behind Windsurf is smart, it'll break it up and give it its full attention to each task. I'm not sure. But if we get this working, then we got this, and I can go watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's the latest Planet of the Apes movie I've yet to see. Give it a moment here. Let's run the server again with our test changes. Okay. I'm going to kill the server, start it up. We're going to make our way over to here. Did it start? It did, good. Gonna go ahead and run this. Very, very close, very, very close, good. We'll stop this here. We'll go ahead and do that. We'll see if it can fix those last two for us. The correct parameter is a query parameter, but our other handler is expecting a JSON body. Let's update the handler. Wow. It was really interesting, like how much it got wrong, but at the same time, we gave it a whole tech doc and just said, go at it. So, you know, if you're building it piece by piece, then you're going to have a lot better chance of things working. Maybe an approach that could be better is like implement each piece and have test code each piece and have more control over what's going in here. But it is a little bit harder to chunk it when we tell to do so much upfront. But we'll go ahead and we'll stop this and we'll go run that. And then we'll go back over here, run this again. Very close. Very, very, very close. And just notice like Go's not throwing errors because it's a statically typed language. So the agent really has to go deep in, look and see what's going on here. So it's going to try to reinitialize the database here and take a look. Let's try this again here. I'm just going to stop it so that it can run it. There we go. Are you sure that's the problem? I mean, it's been running mage stuff this entire time. Oh, here it is. It has a composite primary key. Okay, which means it can't have multiple reviews of the same word. Let me update the schema. Okay. Okay. Do you really need to add the main function to the Go file? I'm not sure if it has to do that. It's just trying to run it. It's having a hard time. Well, I mean, that did work for it, so that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead here and just stop this one as it doesn't seem to do that, and then we'll run this again here. Okay, it's not saying anything, but I guess it wants us to run the test, so I'm going to go run the test. I didn't mean to run that one. I actually meant to run this. You're still getting 500 error. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. I'm going to delete the word test database. I'm going to go ahead and kill. I'm going to start this up. No, I think we need to run our test DB, so I'll run that. Assuming that this didn't break because they made some weird change to the file. We'll go ahead and do that. Okay, you broke my mage file. That's why I probably didn't need that other code in there. Yeah, that's what I thought. You shouldn't add the main functions of the mage file. That's right. As if I'm a Go expert. Yeah, you're not running anything. I'm going to run it myself. Thank you. There we go. That's initialized. Good. We're going to go ahead and start up the database again if we can find it here, or the server, which is here. Good. We're going to go over to here and we're going to run the RSpec file. Perfect. Okay, so that one works. We will go and try to do study sessions. I think we just ran that one though. Study activities. The reason I'm going backwards is that just because like it's changing so much stuff, I just want to make sure it's not breaking the previous specs. Normally you run them all together, but right now, you know, that RSpec command is not exactly working. Tyler Bird, if you're watching, get it to work. He'd know how to fix it. We'll run the words one. Good. So now we have study sessions, words, study activities, groups, and now we just need reset spec and dashboard. Let's try, I don't know what reset spec we expect that to do. Let's go ahead and run that one. Sure, we'll do this one next, I guess. But then it's just two more, and then we have like a fully spec'd thing. And supposing that our test code is correct, then in this very specific way, we know that most part we have some kind of expectation that our code is running correctly. GenAI cannot replace QA people. It just simply can't. I realize my head's been in the way this entire time. I'm not sure if I should move it up here instead. There's nothing really interesting that's being generated out here, so I don't think it really matters, but I'm sure someone's going to say, hey, Andrew, your head's been in this way the entire video, and that's been an issue. So, yeah, I see test failure. You need to update the dashboard service to return 0 words learned. I mean, I didn't run the dashboard one. Why is it updating dashboard? I mean, we do need dashboard to be fixed. Did I run dashboard instead? Is that why? No, I ran reset spec. So why is it talking about dashboard stuff? We have reset. Oh, because it would probably check. Okay, then reset it. Then check that the study history has been cleared. Oh, that's why it's doing that. Okay. I mean, that's a convoluted way to check, but I suppose that is one way to check. But our dashboard would have to fix. I hope it fixes our dashboard stuff. That makes me think we should have made sure our dashboard endpoints worked first. Look, if it fixes both at the same time, I get perfect passing. I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to complain. So it wants me to test the database now. So I'm going to go ahead here, and I'm going to kill the old one, start up the other one, and I'm going to, actually I'm going to run dashboard. I'm more interested in that one because this one's reliant on the other one. So I'd rather run that one first. And this one, not doing great. So I'm going to go ahead, again, I'm just getting kind of tired, so I'm going to cheat and just keep pasting these in here like this. And this is why we get bad code, because then you get tired and you're just like, I want to go watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so I want this to work. And then you are being paid for it, so then you push it as a PR, and then someone at your company is like, I want to go and watch XYZ and go home, so I'll let the GenAI PR to review the GenAI other code, and you know, you just have this big circle of problems. Yep. Yep, that's how the future is for coding. I know I'm the problem, but whatever. It's just how things are going. Okay. Is our server still running? Come on, dashboard spec. You're the last holdout. Okay, we're getting closer. 200 to 404, that's good. No study sessions found. Okay, so this seems like more of a data problem now, so very, very close. We are so close. Once it has 100% pass, we're done, right? But the interesting part is like we'll know if it really works if we get a front end implemented, and I would think that that should be easier, right? No, what the heck is this? No, 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 no. No, no, no. What is this? Stop. What is this? This doesn't exist. What did it just do? What did it just do? I don't know why it thought that exists. That does not exist. This is the problem. When you get tired, then it starts doing things it's not supposed to do. Okay, so okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to delete this one here. And we will go ahead and run dashboard spec. Please just work. It's even worse than before. Now it's all failing. Are you kidding me? What is it doing? So close to getting this to work. So close. Okay. Okay, now even more is broken. But it's saying no such table, study tables. Let me go take a look here. You know what? Is this here? Let me go check. I am going to run this first. I'm going to delete this. Hold on here. Study sessions. Okay, now we have stuff in here. Okay, so now I will go stop this. I'm going to start up the server, and I'm going to run this again because it was saying like data wasn't there, right? And data wasn't there. I don't know, but now maybe it is. Okay, so now we just have one. Okay, let's get this one to work. We're on the home stretch here, assuming our other code is not broken. Okay, this is what we have. Fix it. I'm so tired. I just want to stop and go watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, not properly handling response structure, obviously. Okay, let's go over here. Let's kill it. Let's start it. We have to restart it because it's compiled code, right? So that's how it works. We'll go ahead and do rspec spec. They're all passing. Okay, let's go take a look at words. I'm going to just set this up so it does all of them. Let me see here. Can we just do this? Can I do that? We can. That's even better. I just guessed honestly, but we'll go here and or running a test, running all tests. It'd be nice if we could just do rspec, but I mean that works the same as well. It's the exact same thing. So we'll go here and just say like this. And so we have a few failures in here. What's failing? Dashboard? I don't care. Actually, wait, why is dashboard failing? Oh, you know what? Because if it resets the data while it's doing this, this would mess everything up. Yeah, so the one this is gonna mess it up if we run this one here. So I'm just going to skip this for now. Ignore for now. It would mess up the specs because it will clear. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and delete this. I'm gonna go back over to the first one here. I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna start it. Actually, no, sorry. Before I do that, I'm going to run this. Got to make sure that other one's gone. I want it gone here. Let's delete this one here. Delete permanently. And so now I'm going to run this. That's going to create the new test database. We're going to run this one over here. That is good. We're going to go back over to here. We're going to run all the specs. And I hope I get all green so I can go, nope. Study session. So we only have a few that don't work. Let me just run it individually. Now it's failing. Notice that it's like failing at random too. You know what it might be? Is that when we're posting data, because there's a review step, it's messing up the data, right? So I actually think that it's all passing green, but because we're hard coding numbers and then the test database can be updated and it's not resetting on every single run, that's where we're getting inconsistent data. So I think we're done. Okay, so I'm going to say we're done. I know it's not doesn't look like 100% pass, but it absolutely is. It's great. Would I rely on this if I put it in production? No, I would have to thoroughly do it, but I can see how people can kind of like trick themselves in thinking that everything works. So get test code working so we know our API is in good working order. We have implemented this in Go. That's great. Do we have confidence that we did it correctly? No. Should we put this in production? No, unless there's no risk that we'll get in trouble. But we are done, and maybe I'll look at the code later on, but at least now we have a code base that we could go and reverse engineer, learn, and then become as efficient as this, and then take it over and pilot from there. But yeah, we are done, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.